All right, so the next the next symbol that we're going to create is actually going to be a button symbol. Now, first thing I want you to do before we do anything else is I want you to go up to the File menu and go to Publish Settings. And we are going to change right here, see where it says Flash? We are going to change the script from ActionScript 3.0 to ActionScript 2.0, and then I'm going to click OK. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open my Actions panel, and I'm going to go to the Window menu and go to Actions, and I'm going to drag this and dock it up here with my timeline. And we won't use it just yet, but we will shortly. Now, buttons, if you think of websites, buttons are used so that you can navigate from one place to another. It could be from this scene in our movie to another scene. It could be to a document. It could be to a page on the internet. The possibilities are endless. So what I want to start by doing is I want to go ahead and create a little shape for the text to sit on, just to show you some different options that we have. I'm going to turn off the color, the stroke color, and I'm going to make the fill color blue. And I'm going to create a new layer, and this new layer is going to be called Button. And I'm going to lock the other layer. That way there's no issues, okay? And I'm simply going to draw a rectangle up here at the top of my screen. And for this particular thing, it doesn't matter whether you've drawn it in drawing object mode or merge drawing mode. I'm then going to get my text tool, and I need to change my text color. And I'm going to choose a nice bright yellow, and I'm going to type SFMS. And you'll need to adjust the font size. Actually, pick a font other than Times New Roman. I don't really care what you choose, just something different. Then you can adjust the size of it so that it fits better. I'm actually going to bring it up to 30. There we go. So then I'm going to select both pieces. Notice again that I am using my black arrow, my selection tool, and drag in a little marquee so that I have both. I'm going to need to use my Align panel, and if your Align panel is not visible, you know that to go under the Window menu to find it. I'm going to choose to align it horizontal centered and vertical center. That way the text is in the middle of the box. Now the reason that the whole thing jumped is because actually it was aligning it to the stage. I didn't necessarily need it to be aligned to the center of the stage. So I'm moving it back. But that's why it did that, because that was pressed. Okay? Now, I still have both pieces selected, and I'm going to modify Convert to Symbol. This is going to be my SFMS button, and it is a button. And I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to double click to go inside of my button. Now, this particular timeline looks different, okay, because it's not something that we actually put like a motion tween on or anything like that. But it is a very important piece of Flash. So here we have our upstate, and that means that this is what the button will look like on the web page or on the Flash movie before anything happens to it. Okay. Now, if I go to the overstate, I can control click and I can choose to insert a keyframe. Okay. Now, this means that we want to make some sort of change to this so that it looks different in this keyframe than it did in the upstate. Okay. So there's different things that you can do. I do want you to notice also, obviously, that you can add a stroke. Okay. Not necessary that that's what you do, but that could be what you do. You could choose the text, and you could come down here to filters and add, whoops, right here, add a filter of different things. You could do a drop shadow, a blur, a glow, a bevel, a gradient glow, a gradient bevel, and you can adjust the color. Any of those are options that you can do. Then the down state is what it looks like once you have clicked on it. Okay, so I'm going to insert a keyframe there, and again, it's up to you as to what changes you make, but maybe I do that. Then the hit state is actually it's as you let go. Let me see if I can rephrase that properly. Okay, let me rephrase that. The hit state, let me insert a keyframe. The hit state in Flash is different than other programs. The hit state actually denotes the area that becomes clickable. Okay, now because I have a solid rectangle behind this, then this is a good clickable area. However, sometimes you may make a button that is just text, and when you do that, you need to add a rectangle behind it or in front of it. It doesn't affect the way it looks. All it does is make sure that you have a good clickable area. Okay, so that's your hit state. Now, if I go back to scene 1, I have a button here. Okay, and if I do a control test movie, you'll notice that as I roll over it, see how it changes? And when I click on it, then it becomes the other color. Okay, now it's not going anywhere yet because I don't have an action on it. And I put an action on it by using my Actions panel. So I click on the button to select it. I go up here to the Actions panel, and notice that it says Actions-Button. That's important because you can put actions on frames as well as buttons. And if you have a frame selected, then that can cause you problems. Now, it makes it much easier if you click this little magic wand that says Script Assist, because it'll write the code for you instead of you having to type it and risk misspelled words. So now I'm going to go into Global Functions, and all I have to do is a single click. Then I'm going to do Browser Network, and I'm going to then double click on Get URL. Okay, URL, you know, is basically a website address. So up here, the URL, I can type in http://sfmstechapps.org. That's our website. Now, it is important. You always have to include the http://. In fact, if you open Chrome and want to SFMS and want to type it in, and then you know that you're getting to the right place, and then you can simply highlight it and do a copy and come here and paste. See how that whole thing is there? Now, when I copied and pasted, notice that the slash at the end showed up. That's fine. It works with or without it. Now, the next one for the window, if you hold down this, notice you have some options. If you want it to open in itself and have to use the back button, then just leave it blank, or you can choose self. If you want it to open in a new window, you choose blank. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and choose that. I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to do a control test movie. And again, the button works. And if I click on it, I see my little Safari down here jumping, and it just opened our website. Okay? Now, let me close this real quick. You can make buttons that are even more creative than what you have there. And I'm going to go ahead and double click to go inside of this button. Let me go into my timeline and I'm going to go to my overstate. Okay? I'm going to create a new layer. Okay? And on this new layer, I am going to draw a line. Okay, and actually I'm making my line there so that it's the same size, but then I'm going to move it down a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to, there we go. Now you can see the line. I'm also on this line, I'm going to put a little arrow on it, at the head of it. Okay, so I want to select just that arrow. I can click up here in the timeline and I'm selecting it. I'm going to convert this to a symbol. I'm going to call it arrow. And it's going to be a movie clip. And I'm going to click OK. Now, notice when I made this new layer, it put this in the upstate. I actually want it in the over. So I'm going to click and drag. I'm then going to double click on my arrow. And now I'm in my movie clip. Okay. And I'm going to start by making another symbol. This one is going to make it a graphic. Okay, so I'm going to actually type in G and then arrow. That way I know the difference between them. Because remember that we cannot put a motion tween on something that is not a symbol. So I want this arrow actually to start. I'm going to resize it so that it starts, whoops, very small. And I probably want to zoom in a little bit so I can see it better. Oh, I didn't realize that my... Alright, so there's my small arrow. Okay, let me zoom out just a little bit. Doesn't look near as good small as it did when I first did it. I'm going to move it over here and I'm going to put a motion tween on it. Okay, and I want 1 second later, I want it to actually grow all the way over. Okay, now if I just click and drag, notice it's growing at both ends. I don't want it to grow at both ends. Okay, I only want it to grow from this end. So I'm holding down my Option key and I'm dragging it over. Oops, and I let go of my Option key too quick. Let me do that again. Okay, so I'm going to let go of the mouse first. There we go. And then my Option key after. Oops, except for that time I forgot to put a motion tween on. Sorry, let me do that again. Create motion tween. There we go. Now we got that there. Now I can hold down my Option key and drag. And it inserted a keyframe. And notice how the arrow goes. Okay. Now if I go back to scene 1 and save and control test movie, notice that when I mouse over it, look at my arrow moving. So I can have a movie clip in the overstate that changes the way the button looks as I mouse over it. It's another way to nest a symbol inside of a symbol.